Oh, hello. Do you think that Big Brother is watching you? Or that the Illuminati is planning to take over the world? You had an encounter with a space alien today. Well, if the answer to that question is yes, grab your hat. This is tinfoil hat time. Welcome back to tinfoil hat time. You have no idea how hard it was to get a cat to cooperate today. Jeez. So, yeah, it's an interesting day. I have no notes in front of me. I didn't even write any down. I read a few articles. I scanned a few things. And we are going to, we're just going to have a conversation about cookies. Now, I have a problem. I have no cookies right now, but I do have coffee, and so sometimes C is for coffee, so we are going to run with that. So, that being said, looks like my title is off a little bit too. All right, so hello everybody. Hi, Ryan. There's Gentoo Preacher. How's it going there? Daniel, hello. Dylanum, hello, and hello, Piggy Uniform. Hello, Lamer Linux. I did not receive a notification immediately. Bummer. Yeah, I put up the notification for this one just a couple of hours ago. I wasn't completely sure if I was going to pull off the show today or et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to try and move the title over here. I think I might have my title mixed up a little bit. There it goes. Now my title's working. We're going to talk about the truth about cookies. Now, I did another video about cookies a while back, and so there is another one out there, but I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the philosophy. This will probably be a very short video, especially since I have a pile of stuff that's kind of like piling up in my office, and I really need to get back to it. And so I just need to make sure I get something going. Now, this has been on my list for a while, and what has prompted me to want to talk more about cookies, and this isn't as much about cookies as much as it might be more about third-party resources, because I have my banking Linux system, and my banking Linux system, which is an Ubuntu, I have it pretty locked down, and I install a plugin on Firefox on that is called Policeman. And Policeman, what Policeman does is it's going to block everything that is not part of that resource. And the challenge that I have encountered with that is that as I am trying to do certain online bill places, like for example, my cell phone carrier, they keep on doing so much junk with the cell phone carrier's website that every other time I load the thing up, I have to go back in and reconfigure Policeman for the thing because it's using so many different third-party resources. Okay. Kitty was thinking about coming up, but I think he was in a tight spot. Yeah, this way. Come on. Yeah, no, maybe not. He's been in a weird mood all day. Kitty's been in a weird mood all day. I don't know why. Hey, Keebles. Careful of cookies, people. Careful of cookies. All right. So, let's see. Hello, English Bob. Hello, Michael. I got cat hair in my mouth. All right. Truth about cookies. They give computers diabetes. Yes, they do. They give your cookies diabetes. Hey, Tin Hat, wearing Linux Switch. Yeah, this is my tinfoil fedora. I got to patch up a couple things there, but all right. No cookies. I prefer cheesecake. Yeah, cheesecake is pretty good too. Now, I ate up the rest of my cookie dough while I was doing my photo shoot with my alien today. So I ate the cookies then. I did not have the chance to make my famous browser cookies. I'll get some eventually. Maybe I need to do a crossover with a cooking channel. I'll make the browser cookies as part of a Switch to Linux cooking channel co-op there, and I'll show you how to do the browser cookies. That might be fun. All right. Are the cats been eating enough cookies? Cats have not been eating cookies. They look like it, but they've not. They don't like cookies. They ate popcorn, which is funny, but you know. Hello, TOS Daily. No, sorry, TOS Today. Hello, I'm sorry. Geesh. Hello, Jan. All right. All right. They said they give your cookies diabetes. Yeah, you know, the things that come out of my mouth, sometimes they go through my head a little bit quicker. My mouth has a difficult time keeping up. It's kind of like when you're encoding a video with Kdenlive and the processor catches too fast with the RAM, and it's just like weird stuff starts happening. Yeah, cookies do give give them diabetes. Yep. Cookies do give diabetes. All right. So anyway, what I want to talk about here with the third-party resources is there's so many things, and I spent some time looking up a few articles today, and I did not transfer them all over onto the computer here, but just a reminder about cookies. And what we'll do is we'll walk through all the various cookie settings. Now, one of the most fascinating articles that I read was, of course, we know about first-party cookies, we know about third-party cookies. All right, so a first-party cookie is, if I go to a website, it's going to attach a cookie into my computer, which is merely just a little text file. It usually contains, it could contain something it could contain something just like a little text, something that's like ineligible text that just, it resyncs you to the website server if you've been there before. It could include your login details. In fact, cookies is how a cookie problem is how the Yahoo hack occurred. They occurred by people spoofing the cookies, figuring out how the cookies worked and spoofing the cookies. That's how a lot of the Yahoo hacks had occurred. It was from cookies. Now, when we're talking about looking at cookies, there's first party and there's third party. But I read a very fascinating article today that first party and third party are kind of meaningless terms, because a cookie is first party or third party relative to the website you're looking at. So if I go to facebook.com and I get Facebook's scary tracking cookie and I put that on my browser or on my computer or my browser, and then I go over to google.com and I get their scary cookie, if I have third-party cookies blocked, then going to Google will not put a Facebook cookie on my browser, and going to Facebook will not put a Google cookie on my browser. Right? But if I have first-party cookies enabled and I go to Google and then I go to Facebook, the Facebook cookie is already there because I'm on Facebook. The Google cookie has already been there because I've been on Google. Once the cookie is there, it can still be utilized. So if you're not clearing out cookies on a regular basis, they can still track you across the various sites across the internet. And that's essentially what the cookies do. As you read about the pros and the cons of cookies, it's usually all the advertisers that give you all the pros about the cookies. It's usually the privacy people that give you the cons about the cookies, and that makes perfect sense because the cookie is there to track you across it. And then, of course, the marketers come up and say, isn't it great that cookies are used to target you with more relevant ads? And it's like, that's the exact problem. That's why I don't want to install cookies on my browser. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here today. Let's see. I'd love some browser cookies. Yeah, I'll have to make those. You can check out my old video. I'll link it here somewhere when I'm done here. And you can see the browser cookies in action. Tinfoil Fedora sounds like a Linux distro. Yeah, it's the Fedora distro that runs Tor by default. Yes. Good day, BitleTube. How are you? Dominique, hello. Yahoo hacked 3 times. They specialize in breaches. Yes, they do. General purpose phone has diabetes, sadly. That's sad. I had to give it insulin every day. Nice. Stop using Yahoo because they were hacked and hacked and hacked and hacked and hacked. I know that Google isn't secure, but, you know, YouTube is powered by Google. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Thank you. And actually, if you watched my other video on specifically on browser cookies, and I cover all of the major browsers. I cover Edge, Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, Firefox. I cover all of those. You'll know what I do to minimize the cookies, and that's that outside of Flash cookies, which can be cross-browser cookies, then your cookies are sort of locked into the browser, and that's why I only use Google on Chromium and I use Firefox for everything else. By having the browser separation, you are able to stay logged into one account for the important things, but then what happens is you can utilize the other browser for other things, and there's not nearly as much crosstalk and communication. Now, something else to be said is that with the cookies, even if you do not have the cookies enabled, a website and a company can still track you, but they cannot track you as efficiently. They're seeing each time you go to a site as a different instance. All right. Now, there's another thing, and that is your privacy, like your incognito window. Let me go ahead and turn on my menu bar here and find a browser instance. All right. So here, if you come up and you open up a new private window, or on Chrome, it's called an incognito window, you open up a new window, and I have to actually switch to that window now for some reason. Private browsing. There we are. So there's my private browser. So with private browsing, it does not save cookies. It does not save temporary files. Does not save searches. Does not save visited pages. It will save bookmarks. It will save downloads. And then, of course, there's the tracking protection. But here's the thing. If I go over here and I go to google.com, now Google has the it'll basically do like a it'll keep track of where I'm at for the instance. If I close it down, then it's going to shut everything out. But for the most part, if you're on a private browsing instance, this does not really keep you any more secure. All this does is prevents the cookies. It prevents a lot of the other tracking. So you can use this and sort of prevent some of the tracking stuff. If you're totally paranoid about tracking, you want to use something like Tor or Tails or something like that. Which I've had some requests to look at Tails, and I'll do that if enough people care. But what I wanted to talk about here is just how to clear your browsers out and looking at your third-party resources. Even Linux site feed you cookies. Yes, what is sad? Where is your taskbar / panel on Linux Mint? It is on the bottom. Let me find my screen. So there's my screen set up there. So here's where my taskbar is. You can see here OBS is recording over here. I have 2 Chromium tabs, one for the main recording system, one for the comments, and I have two tabs of Firefox open right now. So you can see what that looks like. So private browsing, yes, TOS daily. Private browser is not really private. That is correct. All right, so what can you do? The most important cookie that you need to be aware of is actually your Flash cookie. And despite Adobe and about everybody else calling for the end of Flash, I think the reason it hasn't died yet is because marketers hit too much traction off of what are called super cookies. See, a cookie itself can only store a very small amount of data. Somebody who knows, type that in the comments. It's something like a couple bits or something. All right. So you have that type of cookie, but it can't store a lot of data. It can't crosstalk between your different browsers, so it's very limited. So what they do is they store flash cookies. A flash cookie is much larger. It can store a whole lot more data, and then it can be utilized across different browsers. Now, where Firefox and Chrome and a few other browsers are disabling Flash by default, frequently you'll go to a website, you'll get a little pop-up that says activate Flash. Well, if you don't see anything on the page that seems like Flash is required, if you activate it, what they're probably doing is storing a super cookie. Sometimes these are called zombie cookies because you can't kill them. You can go into your browser instances, clear out your cookies, and they'll simply just show up again because they're reinstalled by Flash. So to get rid of a Flash cookie or a super cookie or a zombie cookie, you have to you either have to block it from happening to begin with, or you can delete it on Windows. You can delete it with CCleaner. You can use BleachBit on Linux, and there's an option for Mac. I forget what it is. The one I mentioned in my last video hadn't been maintained for a long time. So that is that. Hello, Ali, as Ashkar, whatever. Okay, sorry, earlier in OBS Studio I couldn't see. It was confused why it took a while to open Firefox private. Yeah, what happens is, let me show you why that took a while. So I'm going to transition back over here. All right, so here's OBS Studio. If I want to switch back to the other main site, I have to come into OBS Studio, come down to website view, and I have to change it. Hopefully you can see all this. I think you can. So I can change between which one of the windows I'm looking at here. So that's why it took a while to change, and then I have to retransition. That's why it took a few minutes to change, because I had to manually change it over there. So if Switch to Linux was secretly working for Google and only complaining about it to trick us. Shh, I won't tell. All right. Can you make the chat pop out just to save resources? Make the chat pop out? What do you mean make the chat pop out? I do have a, I have one over here. There you go. That's a fun one. All right. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you some of my favorite plugins for Firefox as far as getting rid of your cookies. So we're going to come back over here, and hopefully you'll be able to see my pop windows. Ah, you can't. I'm going to have to show my screen. There we go. All right. You have to show the screen to show the pop-ups. So one of the plugins that actually blocks your Flash cookies is called Better Privacy, which I actually ran it for a period of time. So this is it here. It's a piece of pie with a hack through it. This will actually get rid of your Flash cookies, and will even delete them at close. Now, I stopped using this because I found that Flash cookies were used quite a bit for a lot of uses that I did find useful. And that's kind of the downside about your cookies, is that it's going to pretty much delete everything repeatedly. So if I go here and restart, what happens now is if I close out the browser, then usually what happens is you'll see a quick little pop-up like that. And then it's going to ask us if we want to remove all of these extra cookies. Okay, so now that's how you can remove the Flash cookies. So if you do that, then people will not be able to see what you are doing across your different instances. So that's kind of your cookie stuff management. All right. Google, dual boot back into Windows. We need to look at your fans. Really trust all this plugins though. If you can verify that it is actually deleting stuff, then I'd say it's okay. But the answer to that question is sometimes not really. For example, on my web design computers, I run a plugin called IP Show, or is it Show IP, I think. And it actually does some funky things behind the scenes that I had to learn how to block, but it's the only plugin that will display for me the IP address of the server that I'm on right on the instance without going up and clicking a button and waiting for a minute. And that's, for a lot of the work that I do, is critically important. So that one does do some funny stuff under the hood that I actually found while I was looking into Windows 10 tracking stuff. Because I'm loading up TCP view, monitoring all my network ports, or maybe it was on my other Linux computer, monitoring all my network ports. And every time I turned on Firefox with nothing else running, all sorts of weird stuff was happening. It ended up being the Show IP plugin. So I managed to block all those different connections it was making, because I consider the plugin is as valuable enough. I don't use Flash. I have an add-on that blocks Flash. That is good. But if I want to use Flash, I can tell it to allow it. Yeah, and that's the Chrome and Firefox are doing that by default now. And that's a good function. And if you have a website that pops up asking you to activate Flash, and then there's no obvious thing about Flash on the site, don't activate it. They're just trying to install a Flash cookie. Around 2 years ago, I had to run I had a way to run two separate instances of Firefox. Can't remember how, or if each one had separate cookies. Maybe this is something to check out again. I don't like other browsers. I know you can do it on cubes. That's something fun that you can do. In fact, you can have one thing that allows you to show all your ad tracking networks and one of them that blocks them all. Privacy is so concerning nowadays that you can cover up every camera on a device you see, but you're still mostly being watched. Even if you go outside, you may still be watched. That's true, and that's a funny point and a funny comment, because I remember when you walked down the street outside, it was like the only way you could possibly be watched is if somebody had a video camera and they were so big that you could easily see it. I mean, they were massive. But now it's like somebody can have a little button camera and record you if you particularly want to be crazy. So that's certainly an issue. All right. So the next thing I think we're going to look at is I'm going to show you the Policeman add-on. So the Policeman add-on, what that one will allow you to do is it will block any resources that does not immediately go to or come from that site. So I'm going to disable the better privacy. So Policeman, this is the one I install on my banking stuff. And I install Policeman specifically so that I can control everything. So now if I go to a website, let's see, I don't think I can go to Facebook on this computer. No, I can't go to Facebook. I blocked Facebook. I think I blocked Twitter also. Huh. I didn't block Twitter. All right, now, you see what it looks like? Where's the style sheet? Now, up here you can check your icon. You can see that the Policeman icon will show you the green is the resources loaded from the domain. The red are the ones loaded from not from the domain. So it looks like Twitter might even be loading the style sheet through a proxy. So here is the various rules that are up here. So even Twitter's trying to load stuff from Facebook. That's funny. PBS. I guess that's Twitter image, twimg.com, abs.twimg.com. Not sure what that one is. Okay, so what you're going to do here is, let's see, so any destinations, we're going to allow this one, we're going to allow this one. Actually, I think I need to... Using it can be a little bit goofy, so I just have to remember... Okay, we're going to allow this one. There we go. Okay. I think now... Let's see. Always takes some messing around with the thing to get it working right. Oh, hey, we loaded an image now. Still not seeing something. It looks like this one I didn't get a chance to add. Remove rule. Going to allow that one. Hey, look at that. Now it loads. So style sheets and other things are coming off from this other third party. Now, where I'm concerned about this kind of stuff is if you run your banking system with Policeman running, the intriguing thing is how few resources are going to load without some third-party resources. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go to Verizon Wireless, because these guys are huge offenders of this. Like, look at that icon up there in the corner. Only 10% of Verizon Wireless site loads from Verizon Wireless. Now, we do have a lot of different caches from vzw.com. We can probably allow, we can probably say, okay, these are Verizon Wireless. But what is this? Tags.tiqcdn. It's a cloud delivery network. But what is coming? What is this cloud delivery network? You know? We're going to, I want to hit add rule here. We're going to come over here, add rule, come over here, add rule, anything from the VZW, I'm going to go ahead and add the rule to it and see what loads. Okay, so now this is loading most of it. So we're still getting the Verizon.inq.com and the TIQCDN.com. So we're getting more scripts, which are probably ad network scripts. And the other thing that I know is that in the last couple of weeks, Verizon Wireless now wants to track your information. Now, some of these are coming from cookies and some of these are coming from non-cookies. Let's go ahead and have a quick look at my cookies, shall we? In Firefox, go under your settings, under your privacy. So here, actually, I have not come in here and done this before. I want to come down and hit Use Custom Settings, and then accept third party. Now, this is funny because Firefox used to, 4 years ago, Firefox would not accept third-party cookies by default. Chrome pushed it back into the realm of doing that. And so now, while there's a big deal in 2013, Firefox had stopped doing the third-party cookies, but apparently now they allow it back on, because I know for sure I would have never come in and allowed those. Can clear history, accept cookies from site. So if you do not, in fact, I'm going to disallow cookies from this site. The reason is I don't want to be logged into anything on this particular browser instance. You know, I'll stay logged into Chrome onto YouTube on Chromium, but I'm not going to do it over here. All right. So there is that. We're going to close this. We're going to close this. That should close out all of the instances there. All right. So I see some more comments coming back. Hello, Mr. Transition. Thank you. No idea why, but my Firefox loaded back on the other screen. All right. Let's see. Got rid of Flash a couple months ago. Pretty easy to get around nowadays, although it's not perfect. Yeah, I would only install Flash on a system that I have to, and only for websites I have to. It's not a very good platform. Off topic, does the tinfoil hat make you concentrate better, and or does it block the radio signals or some other waves out? Yes. It allows me to have the direct connection to Roger, who's right behind me, and Roger telepathically sends stuff over. And if I don't wear the hat, then I get too much other interference. And so he goes, there's like a little matrix plug in the back of my head, and it plugs right on back into his forever stream of consciousness. And so that's what that's doing. But if the tinfoil hat wasn't there, then it allows too much other radio interference, and this connection doesn't quite work. So yeah, absolutely. Maybe need a James Bond app containing every single privacy app in one install. That would be neat. Why don't we just, I mean, this is Linux. Why don't we just go ahead and build it as a Linux distro? We'll call it the James Bond Linux Mint Edition. It features Firefox with every known transition on it. Line and Land Ministries. I see you missed about 30 minutes. Yes, you did. And we have a short stream today, so there's not going to be a whole ton more. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to comment here, actually. So let's see. We've covered the problems with cookies. We've covered how to remove them. Why don't we look at? I'm going to boot up an instance of Chromium here, and we can look at how to manage your cookies over here in Chrome and Chromium as well. Minimize that. All right, so on Chrome and Chromium, you can come up to your three dots up here, go down to your settings. It's been a while since I've been in here, so hopefully I can remember where they are. Here's your manage your search engines. I won't think it's under your advanced. Clear your browsing data. This will allow you to clear out various amounts of data. So here is where you can clear out your cookies, cached images, passwords, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go ahead and do that because this is the browser I stay logged into my YouTube channel over here. But under your content settings, allow local data to be set. Now, this one is blocking third-party cookies. I'm not sure if I have done this prior or if Chromium is blocking third-party cookies by default. I'm not completely sure about that one. I don't remember what the default is. I'm pretty sure Chrome by default allows third-party cookies. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about Chromium. So that's kind of where you would manage your cookies and such in Chrome and Chromium. And let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to cover? Oh, bummer. I was going to show you this right before we went into showing you how to delete the cookies, but I totally forgot. It's one of my favorite pictures right there. Delete cookies? All right, I got to get it right. Delete cookies? All right. So, anything else we need to cover today? I think we're just going to have to wrap up the stream at this point in time. It's a very short one today. A lot of it just is because I have so much work I need to do. I was supposed to get a huge site done for somebody by Tuesday, and we're about a quarter of the way done. So I got to get back to work on that guy there. So hopefully this was helpful, learning about the cookies a little bit. And the last very, very sad, somber amount of news is that the Cookie Monster is dead. It's like every one of these Cookie Monster dying memes had something to do with Hillary. I have no idea why. But this probably circulated right about that time that, you know, it was alleged a whole lot of people were falling over dead due to conflicts with the Clintons. But anyway, the Cookie Monster is dead. There's another one that said that, you know, he was shot in a shootout with, you know, robbing a bakery, but I couldn't get the image for that one, so I had to settle for this one here. All right, everybody. That will be all I have time for tonight. As far as this week's schedule, gee, we're going to be on a to be determined until I get the schedule up tomorrow, probably. So tomorrow I'll post on the Patreon account the types of things I want to cover. We also have I did successfully record 3 or 4 things for the cooking channel. I did list the first video for that on the Patreon account. You do not have to be a patron to see it. It's just that's where I have them pointed right now. So you can go check that out. And let me find, if I can find it here, there's how you can find the Patreon account, patreon.com/TomM. All right. And also check out the other video that I have on cookies as well, which I will put in the... Actually, you know what? Just give me a second. I'll drop it in here. That way, see if there's any final comments anybody has before we wrap this up, and then I'll leave you with that. No, not that video. All right, so there is the video on the browser cookies. On that one, I show you how to manage all the different cookies on all the different browsers through the different operating systems. It's an older video, but it's still pretty good. I watched most of it today. And I will be in communication tomorrow to see what is coming up for this week. But in the meantime, I have a massive website to finish building, so I better get back and do that so I can, you know, earn my daily bread, not get kicked out of the whole place, pay my bills, etc., etc., etc. All right, folks, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.